The recently divorced woman had become the laughingstock of the entire town when she spent $500 on a crumbling cabin in the middle of the desert. No one could have imagined that just a few months later, that seemingly foolish decision would bring back a secret that many people had spent more than 3 decades trying to bury. Claire Bennett left Las Vegas on a windy morning. After her marriage fell apart, she had lost almost everything. Her apartment was gone, her stable job was gone as well. The people who used to surround her every weekend slowly disappeared once Claire's life was no longer as glamorous as it had been before. When she came across a liquidation listing for an abandoned cabin near the town of Ely, she did not know whether she was searching for an opportunity or simply a place to start over. The property was in far worse condition than the photos had suggested. The wooden roof sagged under years of neglect. The windows were cracked and broken. Desert sand covered the entire front porch. Even the employee handling the paperwork advised her to think twice. But Claire signed the purchase documents anyway. The news spread through the small town faster than anything else. Inside the local coffee shop, people shook their heads. They believed the newcomer had just thrown her money away on a worthless pile of ruins. Only Walter, an elderly man who lived a few hundred yards away, watched quietly. A few days later, he showed up at the cabin carrying an old toolbox. Walter told her that the last owner of the property had vanished many years earlier without leaving behind a single trace. Even stranger, several people had tried to buy the land over the years, yet every one of them backed out at the last moment. Claire listened but said nothing. She continued repairing the cabin one corner at a time. Then, one afternoon, while removing old floorboards in the living room, she suddenly froze. The sound beneath her hammer was different. It was not the solid thud of a foundation. It was the hollow echo of an empty space hidden below. Claire knelt down as a mixture of unease and curiosity began to rise inside her. For the first time since moving there, she realized that this cabin might be hiding something that no one ever wanted to be found. By the end of that week, Claire could not stop thinking about the strange sound beneath the floor. The feeling stayed with her for days. Eventually, curiosity won. One afternoon, as the desert sun slowly disappeared beyond the horizon, Claire carried her tools back to the exact spot she had marked. One old floorboard after another was removed. Thick dust drifted through the air. Then she saw it. A square steel plate buried beneath the floor. Claire's heart immediately began to race. No one installs a steel plate beneath a living room unless they are trying to hide something. After nearly an hour of struggling with it, she finally managed to lift the heavy cover. A narrow staircase emerged from the darkness below. A cold draft rose from beneath, sending a chill down her spine. Claire switched on her flashlight and carefully made her way down. The underground room was smaller than she had expected, yet it had been built with remarkable precision and strength. Along the walls stood neatly arranged storage boxes filled with documents. An old wooden desk sat in the center of the room. Beside it stood a steel safe. When Claire opened the safe, she froze. Inside were bundles of cash that had been carefully preserved for years. But what shocked her even more were the dusty files stacked throughout the room. Every document carried the same name, Thomas Reed. Claire immediately recognized it as the name of the cabin's last owner. According to everything she had heard around town, Thomas was a fraud who had cost his family millions of dollars before vanishing without a trace. But as she began reading the first letters, Claire realized that the story everyone had believed for years might be completely wrong. Every page revealed another piece of the truth. Thomas was not the betrayer. He was the one who had been betrayed, and the people responsible were the very family members he had trusted most. At that moment, Claire discovered an old leather notebook hidden inside a secret compartment beneath the desk drawer. Inside was only a short note, a bank address in Arizona, and a message she could not stop staring at. If someone has found this place, the truth is still waiting ahead. Claire did not travel to Arizona alone. After consulting with an attorney, she turned over all the documents to the authorities and agreed to cooperate fully with the investigation. The following weeks passed in a state of constant anticipation. The deeper investigators looked, the more irregularities they uncovered within the Reed family's old records. Then the day finally arrived to open the safety deposit box. Inside were no piles of gold, no jewels, and no luxury possessions. Instead, there were dozens of carefully sealed document boxes, contracts, meeting records, financial statements, and video recordings that had been preserved for years. Piece by piece, the puzzle began to come together. The truth slowly emerged. Thomas Reed had never stolen from his family, despite what everyone had believed for decades. In reality, he had been trying to stop a fraudulent scheme orchestrated by his own older brother. When Thomas uncovered the operation, the blame was shifted entirely onto him. His reputation was destroyed within a matter of months. In the end, Thomas chose to disappear, rather than continue fighting a battle in which no one was willing to listen to the truth. The story spread quickly. Local newspapers published the investigation's findings. The people who had spent years viewing Thomas as a traitor were suddenly forced to confront a painful sense of shame. After more than 3 decades, his name was finally cleared. As for Claire, her life changed in ways she never could have imagined. The cabin that had once been mocked by the entire town became a symbol of an extraordinary piece of local history. Yet the most valuable thing Claire gained was not money. It was the feeling of knowing that she had helped bring a truth buried for far too long back into the light. Sometimes, the secrets we believe have vanished forever are simply waiting patiently for the right person to find them. And sometimes, the door that changes an entire life is hidden right beneath our feet, in the very place no one ever thought to look.